y'all, it's Miss T. I'm back for another Tea with T. We're gonna make this one quick because I'm trying to get this one done while my daughter's napping. So, because I can't get them done while she's awake. So, any event, Tea with T, our tea of choice today, yogi tea. I've been on a lot of yogi teas lately since my girl put me on. This one's raspberry passion, perfect energy, gives you great energy. It's a green tea, I do believe. Does have caffeine in it, and it's very tasty. I got it in here with a little local honey. Today's affirmation is, when you know that all is light, you're enlightened. Pretty good. I like their affirmations they have on their tea. Kind of put you in a mood when you're drinking them. Raspberry passion, perfect energy, pick some up. It's good for a morning or an afternoon. It's kind of late in the afternoon. It's late in the afternoon. So let's talk about the State of the Union address. The president brought up a lot of great things, a lot of great things that we need to start working on as a country towards our future. Things he touched on minimum wage and raising minimum wage, federal minimum wage to $9 an hour. He touched on health care. He touched on climate change, which is a big one for me because that's something I feel like we really, really need to start focusing on as a nation, as a people in the world actually, but we really need to start focusing on trying to change our habits to help with the climate changes that are going on, and education and things. So first, the message that I got from the State of the Union, which is what I love, is that Obama kind of brought it full circle when it came to everybody taking responsibility and doing their own part. And one thing I do love about the president, and I was watching Bill Maher last night, and someone said, I forgot the guy's name, but he was saying how Weinmeister is some dude. He was a douchebag, but he was on there and he was a Republican, and he was saying how Obama demonizes big businesses. And in the same respect, I appreciate the fact that he does to stand up to these big businesses, because big business runs America, whether you want to believe it or not. Big business is who's in these politicians' pockets. Wall Street, your big corporations. That's another rant for another day, but that's who runs government. So we do need to get out of this big business mindset and start to work in our respective communities and changing there. You start there and the world starts to change, the nation starts to change. So I love how he came full circle with the community responsibility, taking responsibilities in your communities as a whole in his speech. I love that. We have to start, with where we live and start working there, and then we can hopefully reach Congress and start to change Congress. So a federal minimum wage hike of $9 an hour, that needs to happen. And no, it's not going to force big businesses to start to hire less so that they can pay their taxes. It's a tax break when they have employees. They get a tax break for actually having employees and paying for health care and training these people. And big businesses there's a lot of tax loopholes for them, and that's what Obama also wants to do, is stop these tax loopholes. But at the same time, they're there. He can't. Congress won't meet with him. Congress won't work with him on these things because these businesses have these congressmen in their pockets. So any event, that needs to happen, because we can't afford the milk and the bread and the things and the gas and the necessities that we need, because we're not making enough. And so a minimum wage hike, a federal minimum wage hike of $9, seriously, we can afford that as Americans. That needs to happen. I don't want to hear your arguments about, oh, you don't know what these businesses are going to do. Let's stop demonizing businesses. We'll bring it back to that. Let's stop doing that. Businesses, if you're raising minimum wage and people are making more, they're spending more, they're earning more, they're paying more in taxes. We already have to pay more in taxes, so we need that hike in the federal minimum wage. I don't understand how American people are against this, because you're so afraid of what the big businesses. Let's stop being afraid of these big businesses and start fighting back against these big businesses. And what I mean by that, which is a great segue into my next point is to start supporting your small businesses in your communities. We should be shopping at our small businesses as opposed to shopping at the big grocers and using Walmart, who is importing our produce over from Mexico and places like that, where we should be getting our produce that's locally grown. You know, start shopping at farmers markets. Start doing things that's going to get us dependent off big business, and maybe they'll start making applicable changes in our communities that's going to benefit us, because a lot of these big businesses aren't taking social responsibility within the communities that they are doing business in. And it's a lot to be said about what these big businesses do to earn a profit. So if you find someone that is, you know, growing apples locally, or selling hair ties here, or selling lotions here, so like, we need to start supporting our local businesses. That way they can start hiring and the money can stay within our communities. And they can start running sales because we're shopping there, so they have the opportunity to run sales for us. But if we're not shopping at these these small businesses, the big businesses are the only ones that are getting our money within our communities, and they really aren't giving back. They aren't paying. You know, Walmart has lawsuits in I think about 32 of the states that they operate in. That's ridiculous. Because of employee wages, of how they're treating their employees. And this is who we go and we fight for, to not have a minimum wage hike on. Walmart needs to pay their people, and they're one of the ones that outsource as well, and this is who we support. We got to stop supporting these businesses that outsource our jobs over to the country so that they can get a tax break. That's a Bush tax break, allowing companies to go and outsource to other countries and they get a tax deduction for that. Support small businesses. Start working within your communities to, you know, if we have and that brings you back to education and things like that as well. Obama's talking about we need to start educating from preschool on up. Every state needs to start to implement something like that. I like how he's calling out the states to do something. That's what your boy Mitt Romney wanted. He wanted the states to handle everything. So now Obama's calling out states to start having programs that's going to help our children, so that when the future generations come, they're not dumb. We are far behind in education than many countries. And that's because we aren't educating our children. And we aren't paying our educators. We're paying athletes and rappers, but we're not paying our educators. We're paying pharmaceutical companies to kill us, but we aren't paying the farmers who can harvest the honey in our local communities, or, you know, not have to use the pesticides, and that are growing organic foods, and not injecting hormones in your chickens and your beef. But you won't support them because it costs too much, because we've supported big businesses so much that we're accustomed to paying them so that they can make their profits. This speech really said a lot to the American people, for the American people. And it's Congress we're fighting. It's not this president we're fighting. It's the Congress that we're fighting. And everybody wants to blame the president, but he can't do anything without a Congress who won't back him. And I don't get how people don't register that fact. He can't pass anything or do anything for us if Congress isn't sitting down and voting for us. And they're not. They're voting against the American people. They're both voting against women's protection and women's rights. Had to stop and collect my thoughts real quick. Give me a sip of tea because I was just rambling. And I can do that at times, so I have to stop and collect my thoughts. Supporting small businesses within your communities, and start to open your own small businesses within your communities. You have a trade, you have a passion. You know, you can bake some cupcakes, you can, you know, start a small restaurant, start saving up so that you can jump into franchising restaurants if that's something you like to do, but you don't know where to start. There's opportunities where you can start, you know, a guy who knows how to fix cars, he can start his own mechanic shop. It's very easy to start your own small businesses and serve your communities, and that way we don't have to support, you know, the big businesses, the big chain businesses, you know. So we as a people need to start looking at ourselves and saying, hey, what can I do to make a difference if you are one of the ones complaining? So if we start to properly educate our children, we can start to build these businesses and get away from big business. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, we have to get away from this big business mindset, because it's not working, and they're not paying our people, and they're outsourcing, and we got to get away from the Walmarts, and I keep saying Walmart because I hate Walmart. They are the epitome of corporate scum. But the Walmarts, the JP Morgan Chases, the Wells Fargos, the Fannie Mae's, the big business that college universities have made themselves, like, we have to start taking a stand for these things, you know, or it's just going to get worse because they're just stringing us along like little puppets. So we have get away from big business. Let's talk about the healthcare. And I've actually downloaded the Americans for Affordable Healthcare Act into my iPad, and I've been reading it and dissecting it because I want to know firsthand, you know, what it entails as an American and as a person who's all for universal health care. And I believe that so far, and I've only gotten through the first few chapters, I have so many other things I'm reading as well, but so far, you know, I feel like it's going to help us. It's going to help to bring our healthcare costs down. So another thing our president touched on, and I am really, really passionate about as well, is climate change and how we need to start focusing on climate change and how we need to start changing our habits and focusing our efforts on developing more natural resources and utilizing these more natural resources so that we can avert a huge natural disaster in the future. And we have been being hit with so many natural disasters on so many ends of our nation, and they've been catastrophic. They've been costing our states millions of dollars. They've been costing the taxpayers millions of dollars because our infrastructure is shitty. You know, we need new roads, we need new bridges, we need new levees, we need these new things, and I don't understand, you know, how this isn't a major concern for Congress. They don't want to believe in science. Like, this is happening. We have people who are well educated, who are paid to study these things. This is happening. Climate change, you know, our ice caps are melting, our ozone layer is depleting. That's what protects us. It's just so much. There's so much, and climate change is very important, and we need to start doing things within our respective communities. Again, you bring it back to the communities where we need to start recycling. We need to start, you know, if we can drive, or maybe we can not drive, but if we can drive our hybrid cars, or if you can afford to buy these types of vehicles, then we need to start doing those things. Or if you can ride a bike or walk instead of driving, you know, we need to start doing these particular things. Recycling is number one, and using more green products. You know, you can use vinegar and water is a perfect cleaning solution. It's that simple. Put some in a spray bottle and you go around, and it's a great, it kills all types of crap all over your house. And, you know, we have so many alternatives that we just aren't educating ourselves and our people on. So, you know, we're staying ignorant. We don't know, and we're killing ourselves slowly. We're killing ourselves. Nobody's doing to it but ourselves. You know, due to lack of knowledge and lack of resources, because we're allowing the companies to shortchange us. So we have to start making the changes within our homes and start supporting the things that matter, start buying more natural. I noticed, and this is just a really great example, I noticed once, you know, black women started to go natural with their hair, you know, we started to get better products out on the market. You know, more women stop wanting to use parabens and sulfate in their shampoo, and all of a sudden the market is saturated with sulfate-free shampoos. Like, this is the way they work. The outputs that companies put out for us to purchase are the goods that we demand. So if we're demanding just, you know, we want the bad shit because, you know, that's what they put on sale, and that's what we don't, because we're not being conscious about purchasing it and it's on sale, and, you know, I'm just going to get these things, then they're going to keep producing those outputs. But then if we start to purchase the more natural products and we start to look to support these types of ventures and these types of deals, then the companies are going to produce those types of outputs. We have to start, we control the market, the consumers control the market. So we have to start supporting the things that make more sense. So there was a lot that the president touched on in the State of the Union, and I loved it, and I thought it was a great message. And if you didn't get it, then you obviously sat down with some type of preconceived notion that he wasn't going to say anything that you wanted to hear anyway. So, you know, it's a crock. of shit, pretty much. The speech was amazing. I loved it, and I loved a lot of the things that he proposed, you know, to help get America back in shape and to continue us on a great path. I think we are on a good path if we as a people and a community, as a nation as a whole, can come together and start working together. And that starts in Congress, but it also starts in our communities as well. And I'm glad the troops are coming home, and I hope that we can, you know, continue to employ them and put them on our borders, I say. Get them in tip-top shape. Let's start developing new technologies. Like, we need to start using people's minds as opposed to just sending our boys out to fight and to war. We pay for all these wars and we can't pay for when our troops come home to live well. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Let me know what you thought about the State of the Union. I didn't touch on everything. I just wanted to get this out here really quickly. Let me know if you have any questions. I did say my next video was going to be on small business startups, operations, tips and tricks, and that is coming. I tried to film it the other day and the baby woke up and I just erased it because my camera was, I'm still trying to get used to this camera, so it wasn't focused right and blah blah blah. So I'm trying to get it together, y'all. I promise. I will have more things coming. I do want to do the small business one. I need to do ASAP because I know it's the beginning of a fiscal year and I have a lot of people with a lot of questions. So I'm going to get that one out really quickly, and then I'm going to retouch on 401ks and retirement accounts. So that's going to be a different video, and I have a lot of different things coming for you guys. So bear with me. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, rate. Miss T. It's my R mug for Rogers. That's going to be my last name pretty soon here. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video.